Good afternoon, Africa and the world. My name is Oliver Chikozore, and I'm the co-founder of Africa Rising TV. We are right here in Cape Town, South Africa, at the sideline of the African Mining Week 2025, and I'm joined by Patrick Mulindwa, who is the Chief of Staff of African Minerals Strategy Group. Welcome, sir, to the show.
Thank you.
Please tell us a little bit more about yourself and your role within African Minerals Strategy Group.
Yeah, my name is Patrick Mulindwa, as you've mentioned it. Let me start with appreciating you for this wonderful initiative of the Africa Rising TV. We need to credit this guy.
Africa is rising.
Africa is Rising TV. So we need to credit you. So thank you so much for the initiative. I want to think that one of the things you're doing is to get people locked in on some of these closed conversations that they never get a chance to be part of, okay? My name is Patrick Mulindwa. I'm Chief of Staff of the Africa Mineral Strategy Group. You already spoke to my SD, but above all, I want to thank Energy Capital for MSG is a convening partner for this edition of the Africa Mining Week. My roles include CEO of the Africa Responsible Sourcing Initiative. And this initiative, basically, if I could mention, is how do we get our people to benefit more from such a sector which seems to be an exclusive sector when I talk about mining for a few. So that's what we do in the initiative.
In the initiative.
Yes.
They are great submissions and a great work that you guys are also doing that we need to acknowledge and appreciate. The second question, we'd like to talk a little bit more about what has been the highlights. I know today's day one of the Africa Mining Week. What has been the highlights for you? But also, tell us a little bit more about precious minerals as well.
I think for me, one, I wish to credit the conveners, Energy Capital. I want to thank them because most of these events, if you backdate, they used to be, they would feature people of you know, from the West, elite and the West and other international people, not to be, you know, very negative, but of course we appreciate that. But I want to say that why I want to say this one is special in a way is that the participation of the African is actually bigger, you know, and the topic of conversation is the representation in the topics discussed is actually more African, because what a day when Africa's mining is actually driving the future. Speaking about artificial intelligence, energy technologies powering the new energy alternatives, wonderful thing. So as part of the highlight from this edition of the Africa Mining Week, number one, I want to thank the organizers and the participants above all for that inclusivity of the Africans, because they are the producers. The other thing is the selection of the topics I've talked about. And lastly, you guys being here to get the information out there to the people.
Okay, thank you. And any elaboration around precious minerals?
So just like I mentioned, one of the initiatives run by the Africa Mineral Strategy Group is the Africa Responsible Mineral Sourcing Initiative. When we say responsible mineral sourcing, the sourcing usually kind of like easily connects with the market. But when you source, it means that whatever you source does exist. So when we mention responsible sourcing, we kind of like encompass even the ethical mining. So the minerals that are so good to wherever they go, let's say in the market, we talk about precious metals in this case, they should be mined in a responsible way, you know? And above all, in their sourcing process, they should benefit everybody involved.
Local community.
From the producers themselves. And by the way, if we basically bring this to speed, there are no minerals in the urban. All the minerals are in what we call the suburbs and the villages. Yeah, so when we say local communities in Africa, these are no longer what we used to say that the poor. No, because how can the poor people actually host the most precious metals in the world? Don't you see? So there's no way that the communities over there are poor. The reason is the game is that we have not been responsible in our sourcing, so we do not care about the value chain and the value that stays at each chain. Because at the production, that is the mining level, where we said the local community, which is originally, always known as to be poor, there's a value that should stay there. And it goes to the government level, the taxes that stay there. and it goes to the global markets, which people enjoy, and eventually you have the necklaces and the gold, whatever that you call it. So the responsible sourcing initiative is to, number one, turn around the lens of the global precious metals to now consider that value is distributed equally at every chain of the value chain. So what we are doing in the responsible sourcing is, number one, to encourage our countries to promote responsible mining and responsible sourcing. Because usually the precious metals, and if you have heard of cases of most of the gold producing countries, the market will provide reports of the monthly imports of volumes of, let's say, 40 tons of gold imported in a specific country in a specific mass. While the countries where it is actually imported from, the countries here do not present or report the same export volumes. So that means that whatever precious metals, whether gold, diamonds, and the rest, did not go out in formal routes. So they went out as illicit trade. There you cannot in any way have any consideration or confirmation that value will be retained at the different chains, because the routes were not informal. Okay? They were illicit. So what we are doing in the initiative is to promote that our countries have formal export routes for these metals. We are doing a POC, which is a proof of concept on precious metals. And I know that you've heard of countries like Ghana. So what we do not necessarily create from scratch. We look at for which country is actually running the best model, because it's already happening in Ghana. All the artisanal miners are not allowed to sell out their gold to anyone apart from one government agency called the Gold Board. So I just came back from Ghana and I had a meeting with this wonderful gentleman. We pick out a model like that and we take it to any of the African countries for adoption. So that's one of the things we're doing. If you remember anything about what I have said, please do not forget that the precious metals across Africa are not hosted in Johannesburg or in Cape Town. They are in the village.
In the villages out there. There you have it.
And if anything should happen, the value should be equally shared along everybody in the chain.
Within the value chain. There you have it from the Chief of Staff of the Africa Minerals Strategy Group.
Yes.
Talking to us and giving us insights about the precious minerals and how we can be able to capacitate those from within the value chain, the rural areas where we mine these precious minerals, and making sure that we create value for everyone. Thank you so much. Right here in Cape Town for the Africa Mining Week 2025. Bye-bye, bye-bye.